Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tolu Dialogues. Today, I have with me an amazing woman. She's a mother, she's an entrepreneur, and she's also the founder of TheSoulClinic. Please join me as I welcome Funmi Fatona-Ayowole. Welcome, Funmi. Thank you very much for coming. I know it was a lot of hiccups, but I'm happy to have you here today.
It's great.
And you guys are in for a thrill. So Funmi, let's jump right in. I'm sure everybody's like, oh, yeah, let's jump right in. So Funmi, as I know you're the founder of the TheSoulClinic, and TheSoulClinic speaks to clarity and strength. And my question is, how did you find yourself coming up with the TheSoulClinic, and what does that really mean to a layman when they talk about, because that's your pillar, is about clarity and strength. What does that mean to a layman?
Okay. Thank you for that question. It's a great opener. Mm-hmm. To a layman, when you hear the word soul, I wonder what comes to your head or your mind, Tolu. But I can first of all break it down in three ways. The human is an actual tripartite being. That means that you are a soul, you have a spirit, and you live in a body. Your soul is sort of like the middle point between your spirit and your body. With your spirit, you connect, let's say, to the divine. With your body, you connect to the earth and the earth plane. Mm-hmm. But your soul in between is what connects both parts. Now, your soul is that eternal part of you, the immortal, most tangible part of you. And not to get too technical, but your soul is actually made up of your mind, your will, your emotions, your imagination, what I would call a tinted memory, and finally, your heart, which all put together make up the essence of who you are. And so when we talk about soul strength, how strong, how much capacity, what is the material that your soul is made up of in order to withstand and to thrive while you are experiencing life's challenges? Some of us don't know that the mind and the brain are actually different. Yes, the brain, even though it's connected to your mind, but your brain serves as that scientific physiological function that helps you think, love, experience life, solve problems, go through challenges, and so on. And it's all connected. Your brain connects with your mind, and it's all connected within your soul. And so how strong are you? How much can you withstand when life throws curveballs your way? So that's what we talk about, soul strength. And you can go deeper and deeper, but for the sake of time, I'll just like you to know that mental clarity that you spoke about, there's a need to remove a lot of cobwebs and fog. Sometimes people get overwhelmed, they can't think, they can't focus, they're not able to make decisions and really decide and navigate through an experience. They're not able to navigate and decide what is the best next step for them. And so soul strength, mental clarity is extremely important, and it affects all parts of your life, your relationships, your work, your parenting, your marriage, your friendships. It is quite a whole experience.
Wow. You did explain that beautifully, because when you spoke about the mind and the brain being different, I'm thinking how, because you just think like it's the same, but I understand what you're saying, some of them connecting and your core being in that space. Yes. So how did that lead to you to the TheSoulClinic? Okay. So what led? So I because your background is this is your background because you're a professional therapist. So how did that lead to you actually establishing the TheSoulClinic?
So I will clarify. Mm-hmm. I'm a mental and emotional health coach, certified. Mm-hmm. I'm not a professional medical therapist, just to clarify. Mm-hmm. Okay, so on a typical Saturday morning, Tolu, maybe you sleep in, maybe you run errands, maybe you take the kids to soccer, But there's one particular Saturday morning that I will never forget. My husband and I woke up and we put our feet on the other side, on different sides of the bed, and we stepped into knee-deep water. Yes, our entire house was flooded. It had rained heavily overnight in the Lagos metropolis area of Maryland, to be specific, Maryland, Lagos, Nigeria. And you can imagine, I'm talking a complete flood. It was such a blessing that my then 1-year-old was with grandma in another house completely. If not, we probably wouldn't be talking about the same thing because he would have drowned in his cot overnight. Wow. It was that bad. The flood was really bad. So anyway, we lost everything: electronics, furniture, clothing, everything. We couldn't stay in the house. And with Nigeria, you pay rent annually. You don't pay rent monthly. So the landlord refused to give us the balance of the rent. And we had only just moved in, maybe whatever the time was, a short period. All of us had to go and live in my old room in my dad's house. And so you can imagine how destabilizing it was. My entire life as I knew it turned upside down. Everything about my work, my relationships, we moved to somewhere totally different. I had left my dad's house for a long time. So where my dad's house was completely different from my marital home. I started going through bouts of a lot of anxiety and depression. I eventually became suicidal. I did contemplate suicide. My relationship with my husband was completely destabilized, and with my in-laws. And even, I would say what really saved me are two things: the thought of my son, because at that time he was probably a little over 1 year. And then I reached out to someone that I saw on the streets of Instagram who just took a chance on me. She gave me a scholarship. She was a coach, and I'm going to shout her out on this video. Her name is Olusheye Ashiru. Always shout out to you.
Shaya, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. She took an interest in me. She gave me time. We worked through so many of my issues together. At that time, she was living in Canada while I was living in Lagos. And so, based on her time zone, I would be up between 12 and 2 a.m. during our coaching sessions. I would sit on the floor of my bathroom while my husband and son were sleeping, but I was doing the work. I was doing the assignments. I was listening to her. I was answering her questions. I was asking myself questions. I went deep. And so I was able to dig my way and claw my way back into the light again. I think that was the most monumental experience of my life. And after that, I thought maybe I could pay it forward. Maybe I can help someone else that is in need. My actual academic background is in marketing and communications. And so regularly I'm an ad girl. But I got certified. I took a number of courses, counseling courses, and then coaching courses all around the space of mental and emotional health. When we moved to Canada, a few more certifications. And then I started coaching my first client. A couple of clients later, I think now it became established that, yes, I can do this, and not just do it, but I do it with passion. I do it caring about my clients. And I'm the founder of the TheVirtualSoulClinic, which is nonprofit. And so while I am charging clients a standard rate, but in my nonprofit, which is the TheVirtualSoulClinic, I have assembled and trained a number of volunteer support coaches who help anybody for free and provide 15 to 20 minutes of talk time. And so maybe you woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, or you just don't feel like getting up out of bed. You're able to get on our site, access our resources, but not just that, you can, within 24 hours, speak to a trained support coach to help you out of your funk.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you for paying it forward. And thank you for not just monetizing it. But just that is very crucial because at times is affordability that actually stops some people.
Yes.
But then knowing that you can still access that
Yes.
and not have to pay anything within 24 hours, I think is just amazing.
Yes.
Within your experience, running the Soul Clinic and even the Virtual Soul Clinic, what would you say is the deepest wound people tend to carry around? And how do you guide them to rediscover their strength? Towards rediscovering their strength? What would you say is that you've seen in your years of experience? Listen to your story. I think that's very touching. Is that something that, what would you say is
Yes, I think that a lot of people carry childhood wounds. And it is one of the greatest pains people have if maybe they didn't receive enough care and love and acceptance, unconditional acceptance when they were growing up. Things that they experienced in childhood, in teenage years are very impactful. And they have a way of creating an indelible, like almost permanent scar in their hearts. And so some people may have been bullied as children, may have experienced abuse as children or as teenagers. It affects self-esteem, it affects your perspective on the world. It is a really great wound, especially when anybody has experienced some form of trauma in their childhood or teenage years. Now, how do people regain their strength afterwards? That one is, I would say that it's a continuous journey. There's one thing to blubber and bluster your way around your adult life and just be like, oh, all good, I'm fine, I got this, you know, we will rest when later on, that kind of thing. You can do that, but it's another thing to develop self-awareness and know what are your triggers, how are you feeling, what makes you feel the way you feel, why do you react or act the way you do? And with that self-awareness comes a willingness to work through the issues truly. And then there's a possibility of change, gradual change in the right direction. One major thing I would say is seek help. Yes, seek help. You may need to seek help from a coach, a therapist. You also may need to seek help from your family because family can be, they can really be good support systems, but you need to be very careful who you open up to. It's extremely important because it can turn the other way around. Yes. So it's a self-awareness, seeking help, professional and family help, and then knowing that it is an ongoing journey. Healing is not one time, is not immediate either. It's gradual and it's continuous.
Wow. I think I've seen a lot, which I see like even on Instagram is about childhood trauma. But now sitting with some, because you know, you see it online and you're like, oh, if this is going to, like, come on, everybody is going to, what do you mean childhood trauma? Like, but then this, I'm sitting next to you now, you're saying, I'm just thinking, and then you spoke about even the way the people are raised. So it's not necessarily being abused one way or the other. It's just showing love, showing love to a child. It's how deep and how impactful that can be even later that in person's life is just intentional parenting.
Yes, you have to be very intentional. Even the words you use with your children are extremely important. The way you describe them to others, the way you introduce them to others, what you say to them morning, evening, when they come back from school, when they have a low grade or a high grade, the way you are able to affirm them and reassure them that regardless of what they do or don't do, you love them just the way they are. That really goes on to affect their adulthood. Yes.
Okay. So now my next question is, so how do you empower individuals? How do you empower the solopreneurs to see their next best step and why it is essential in their professional and their personal journeys?
The first statement I would make is you can't give what you do not have. a solopreneur or an entrepreneur who is doing their thing, whether on the side or it's their main hustle, needs to understand that they are their biggest asset. So, Tolu, if you are a solopreneur, let's use you as an example. You are your biggest asset. You must take care of your mental health and your physical health because they are intertwined. And so as a solopreneur, are you watching what you're eating, what you are drinking, how you are moving, if you have the right exercise, if you're sleeping well? I can't rush over it because it's
no, I think that's so deep. Like you're touching the right nerves. So I'm like, okay, come on, eating, sleeping. Are you doing that, Tolu?
Yes, are you doing that? Are you also associating with the right kind of people, those that speak life into you? Are you maintaining a structured lifestyle of what you do, your morning routines, how you embrace gratitude in your life? Are you being mindful? Are you doing any meditation? Are you relaxing properly? How do you recharge? As a solopreneur, there's a tendency to do everything and want to solve every challenge. Do you even delegate? Have you realized what needs to be priority for you and other things you can pass on to others so that you can really bring your best in the areas that you serve? As a solopreneur, we can empower people by assessing their lives, creating some form of structure, helping them with clarity to know what is important, what are their goals, and what's important to them, how are they going to achieve them, without losing out on their health, on their family, the things that mean the most to them.
And this is what you would get from a soul clinic or
yes,
virtual
from a
clinic.
session with the
I'm just saying it to people right there, like, this is not something, because at times you hear something, but it's a how to do it. So there are a lot of, this is, but then what's the how? I know, well, how do we, and that is where you come in.
Very practical.
Yeah,
we actually have, I created a proprietary assessment. It's called the Quick Scan. Within 8 minutes, that's the very first step you take when you come into the Soul Clinic. It's virtual, but you come into the Soul Clinic, you take the Quick Scan, and it helps you really see in black and white. And when clients see their results, they're like, really, is this me? Or some of them say, I'm not surprised, I've been having that, I know that, you know. And it measures categories like anxiety, stress, depression, falling out of love with God, excessive consumption of food or alcohol, you know, anger. It measures a wide range of categories of how you're feeling in your mind and your emotions. And so from there, we can now customize the solution for you.
Thank you very much. So if you heard that. So this leads me nicely to the next question. So if someone is watching right now and they're feeling a bit lost or broken and they want to start their healing journey, what would be the first thing you say to them?
The first thing I would say is healing is possible. Please do not feel hopeless or dejected. Know that you are loved and your life is actually valuable, extremely valuable. There's someone out there that cares about you. Even if you don't know of anybody, I care about you. And we are all interested in your well-being. So we start from there. And then I would encourage them to talk to someone else, just maybe a friend, a loved one, someone that they can trust. And then we continue, and I will say, please go to www.TheVirtualSoulClinic.com. The assessment is free. Even your 15 to 20 minute session with our trained support coach is free.
Thank you for that. For me, that's really powerful. And thanks for sharing. You guys have heard where to go to. If you're there, you're feeling low, or you're feeling like, for me, it's making sense, or how do I connect, or how can I start that journey? You've heard it all. And we're all here to support you. We're all a community. So for me, doing the virtual soul clinic, doing the soul clinic, I know you're also into finance and all that. I'm sure you had moments of doubt. So your moments of doubt, how do you stay anchored? Like, how have you carried on? And how do you instill that stillness in other people that might be going through, you know, that self-doubt and all? So how did you stay anchored, and how would you encourage someone else to have that inner stillness?
Okay. That's a really good question. First, I go back to my why. Why did I start doing what I do? Why am I so interested in helping others? Why am I here? When I ground myself in those reasons, then I'm able to think to myself, okay, I feel a little low, but how can I come out of this funk? Next, I leverage my community. I have a close circle, but they are highly trusted. So I know who can I reach out to that will listen to me with no judgment and will encourage me and speak life into me. Finally, I think, what is the next best step to take at this moment? Sometimes that next best step is to sleep.
Not anything scientific or great.
Nothing scientific. Sometimes the
Not
next best step could be to sleep or to eat a good, healthy meal.
Not binge, not junk.
No. Or to get a hug from a really good friend. That can make a world of difference.
True.
I'm telling you. These things are so simple, but they are powerful. And so I would encourage anyone to answer your second question. Sometimes it's the simple things in life that we need to enjoy. Take a walk, go out in nature, experience sunrise or sunset, sleep really well. Yes, you could also journal, write out your thoughts. You could speak to a friend. You could also pray. I am not discounting the power of the divine. I'm faith-based, I'm a Christian, and I believe in the power of prayer and meditation.
Thank you very much, Funmi. Thanks for sharing that. So it can actually be just sleep. And you're right, because the time I think is a big thing. But I think what I'm hearing you say is you need to have people, or at least one person, that you can actually just speak to. And you know that that person is not going to make you feel worse, but speak life into you, like you just said.
Exactly.
And if you're there and you don't have any of the above, there's the Virtual Soul Clinic, where someone will be there. Because I'm sure there are people that really, maybe they just migrated, or they don't even have anyone around them, or they've just had this whole huge breakup with friends. Because that does happen, where you once trust someone, and right there and there you don't have anyone that you trust, but you can still trust those people. And what, they don't know you don't know them, and they're going to listen and help you, what they have to lose. So I think that's a good one.
You spoke to something very important when with newcomers. So please know, because with newcomers, they're just settling in, they don't know anyone, they're not used to the system. The Virtual Soul Clinic is there. We are currently applying and receiving grants and funding so that we can expand our reach. We want to recruit even more support coaches and raise awareness so people will know that this service is available to help Black, Indigenous people of color.
Okay, so most solopreneurs often battle with isolation, because you're just one person, like you say, you're in your room, you're doing all that, you're running this business, you're doing your ad and all that. So my question is, how can the community help them or support them with this issue of isolation? And I've heard a lot of people do say that, oh, I feel like I'm alone, I'm doing everything together. So how can the community
Yes, you're right. A solopreneur is their own marketing, their own accounting, their own everything. But a solopreneur needs to be intentional about their relationships. So they need to raise their head up out of the computer screen, or, and they need to ask for help. So sometimes it could be intentionally going to a networking event where you don't know anyone, but you still need help. Or you can get on the internet and immerse yourself in a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. There are several associations here and there, and so you just need to be intentional and know that there's no one that's an island. You will need the help of everybody. I mean, I'm sure it's because of a networking event at some point that you and I met, right? And so, and we're doing big things together now, and we're so happy with the results. But you never know until you try, or until you basically intentionally expand your circle.
Yeah.
You never know who will know someone else that will help you.
Yeah, and just to speak to buttress your point about that, at times it can feel a bit overwhelming. Like when you have to make, like, I don't have the time, I have to do that. But just even if you just be intentional and do like one in a month,
Yes,
because there are a lot of events that happen, and some you may even feel disappointed. Like maybe the expectation is cut short. Like you go there, like, oh, that was what I was expecting. I would say don't give up. Just keep, trying at least once a month.
Yeah.
You should, yeah.
And with networking, you need to know that you're going there to give value, not just to get value. So a person is going
let's sit on that. Let's sit on that. You're going there to give value and no receipt. Because most times when you're thinking about networking, getting contact with, like, you are actually pretty good.
With networking, ask questions, meet people, really be curious, and be open to helping others. You vibe it out.
When you started talking, you spoke about this diagnostic approach that you do, and that has been really, really instrumental for what you said in terms of people seeing and being a bit like surprised at what, and some can relate. So how do you see innovation shaping emotional wellness for you? And also, what is the future of Virtual Soul Clinic in that space?
That is beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. We are refining this quick scan that I spoke about, the diagnostic tool, in conjunction with a number of universities that have done research. To make it better, to make the scan sharper and bring out the most accurate results. It's very important for us to be accurate, because once we know what is the challenge, then we can help the client. And so where I see the Virtual Soul Clinic going, we will have apps, we will have several gatherings, we will have quarterly hangouts. We will be a more robust hub of mental health champions, because not only do we want to help people in Canada, but we are truly global. So we have coaches from all over the world in different time zones in order to help everyone everywhere.
That's fantastic. And we said 1 would chase 1,000, 2, 10,000. So the more people we have in that, to me, I know that one. So for me, thank you so much. If we could leave one last message about soul strength and finding clarity for someone that's probably watching today that is feeling probably unseen or overwhelmed, what would that message be?
This message is, I would say, the theme of my life. And it comes from a very beloved person, John. Beloved, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. The reason why I quoted this is because it shows, first of all, that you are loved. Secondly, you are supposed to prosper in all areas of your life. So don't discount your finances, don't discount your family, your mental health, your physical health, and remember that healing is possible.
I'm still speechless.
Don't be.
Thank you. And that is just well-rounded up. Thank you very much for coming. And I would have continued, but I know that you need to be somewhere. So how can people reach you? I'm sure there are people that are watching and like, how can we reach Funmi? We want to. So could you let the viewers know?
Okay, so www.TheVirtualSoulClinic.com. That's for the non-profits. And you can reach me personally on www.theFunmiAyowole.com. We are on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. Virtual Soul Clinic is on Instagram. I'm sure all those links will be provided on the screen.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you Funmi for coming, and thank you for sharing. And you guys have heard it all. It's about, do not keep quiet. Speak to someone. Find someone in your circle. If you don't have anyone in your circle, reach out to the Virtual Soul Clinic. There are people that will speak to you 15 minutes. You don't have to pay within 24 hours. And also be intentional. For the solopreneurs out there feeling isolated, be intentional. Go for those networking programs at least once a month. We're saying, okay, maybe once every 2 months. But just go out there. Remember, when you're networking, it's about what the value you're taking there as opposed to the other way around. There's something we do on Tolu Dialogues, which is our Shima handshake. And that's just to say, what we're doing there. It's just a way of, it's our thing. It's a total dialogues thing. So we're going to schema together. But this time around, we're going to say what total dialogue is all about, which is that to elevate, to empower, and inspire. So you go elevate, empower, and inspire. Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I think so.
Ready, steady, go. Elevate, empower, inspire. So that's all from today. So see you guys next time, and thank you for me. Thank you so much for coming. It was great.